We're back, people, and today we're bringing up film on B.J. Adams, Miami Dolphins UDFA corner that they added in. And the Dolphins have a pretty good, recent history of having UDFA corners make the roster. I think Adams has a good chance of being that next guy. His press man-to-man film is really, really good. Pretty much every play in here, minus one, is him playing press man-to-man, and against good competition, like guys who were drafted on day 2 of this NFL draft, and he was sticky in press. He played with good technique, good footwork, pretty fluid. I think once he gets out of press, that's where he looks more uncomfortable playing it off and in zone. That's kind of not really his game, but he's got the length to use. He can play with physical press. He can play in more of a soft press and just play with decent footwork and do that. He's got enough speed and length to play in a vertical plane pretty well. Can get a little overly grabby at times, but that's sort of the nature of being a long press man corner that will happen from time to time. But I think he does a pretty good job being pretty subtle with it, not being over the top. And it's been, something he's been good at for a couple seasons now with his playing time. He goes out there and plays with good hand usage. So if you guys could, leave a like and comment down below, it really helps out for the YouTube algorithm and all that. Really appreciate it. So we can start breaking some of this down. So first play here, good play from multiple facets depending on how you look at it. One, love the initial punch. He does a good job, I think, punching with his inside and outside hand. Really nice job here. Boom. Shoots that inside hand. Good placement, timing. He pretty much always gets inside your chest. If he doesn't, he does a good job recovering and making up for it. They're able to completely just stall and slow down the receiver's momentum instantly because of those long arms. And then he stays in upfield shoulder positioning. His positioning is constantly on top, which, allows him to make plays and not get beat vertically. But he always is expecting back shoulders and people to break on him. Right here, boom, kind of reading the hips, feet, and then he matches the break of the receiver, puts himself in a perfect position, stays in phase, doesn't allow a lot of separation in these press man-to-man situations. And now he just makes an instinctive football play to get off of it. Ball's thrown to a different receiver, and he just makes an athletic play, shows some ball skills, gets the interception, them trying to throw the ball to someone else off script. Really, really impressed with Adams in that situation, making that sort of play. Good job on the outside here, 101 versus Jack Besh. Jack Besh was one of my favorite receivers in the draft. I believe, he went another day 2 receiver who's actually very good at beating physical press man-to-man. And Adams just, able to stay with it the whole time. He plays with better instincts and route recognition in these situations too. Now he's able to get hands-on, doesn't get an initial punch, but stays in phase, stays in the hip pocket. And then also just good technique at the catch point. Hook and swat, this is what you're taught a lot of times when you're in this position. You hook the outside hip. Now, when you hook the outside hip, you don't want to turn them, because when you turn them, that's how you get pass interference, holding, stuff like that. But he doesn't turn him, and then he uses that inside hand to then swat down at the catch point. Just absolute technical stuff there from Adams. Now here, versus a very different option. He's doing this versus very different receivers. Higgins, Jack Besh, and Jalen Null all have 3 different play styles, and all were guys who went on day 2 of this draft, and he did a good job versus all of them. Boom, outside hand, shoots at outside hand, doesn't allow him to, really get any momentum going out there. Now opens up his hips, he resets too. He knows when you, sometimes when you shoot that outside hand, it locks your hips from opening your hips that way. Now he's able to stay in the hip pocket. You can see him anticipating the inside break just based on his positioning. That's what's likely to happen, and he does another good job. He hook and swats, ball's thrown out a little too far in front, so he doesn't even get hands on it. But again, just not allowing separation versus these pretty good receivers, pretty good competition. Here versus Higgins. Higgins gets him to open up his hips the wrong way. This is kind of a good kind of vet move here. So, one, I think he does a good job staying square and patient initially. Now gets kind of his hips to open up, gives that inside pass, but he's able to flip it back the other way. Shows some fluidity, some good footwork. Now in the spot, he gets a little grabby, but it's pretty subtle. And it's subtle and quick, so the refs don't really notice it too much. And he uses it to slingshot himself back into inside position to knock that ball down, get hands, and make a play. Very impressed. He's got the length. It's even when he loses, he has the ability to recover and the length to still make a play on the ball, which is kind of the biggest thing for guys like that, especially on a vertical plane. Because, they might struggle in other aspects of the game, which I think this kind of situation, this is by far his best play. Here, playing more in an off man, and it was pretty basic. It was just a tight end sitting on it, telegraphed. They threw the ball late, and he gets the pick 6, makes them pay for it. So, nothing too, I mean, he gets the pick six, which is great. Nothing too crazy from him, more of just a mistake on the offense, but at least he can make offenses pay from their mistakes in those spots, but it's not like the rest of his film is pretty uh, pretty non-factor in those situations, if not negative at times. But here, back to the press man-to-man stuff. You try to beat him on a vertical plane, even if he doesn't get hands on you initially. He's gonna fight for it. He's gonna, in this spot. This is one of the few times where like he's not in upfield shoulder positioning, so he understands like when you're in the low field shoulder positioning, you turn away from the receiver to find the ball because it's more likely to be thrown over the top and not back shoulder. And the back shoulder you would play the other direction. And you'll see that throughout the film. Here he does a good job with his feet, mirror and matching. Receiver does a good job kind of giving him multiple moves. He doesn't get hands on, but he's still able to stay in the hip pocket. Even though like he probably took some false movements there, plays the back shoulder, is physical to the catch point. Here he hits that outside stab into straight to the chest of this Colorado receiver. Completely stalls his momentum completely. Guy tries to break, probably gets a little handsy there, but he's still able to play with that physicality. Really, really love all, especially the vertical plane stuff. Whether they're running vertical or they break on like hitches, curls, like anything on that plane, he does a great job of shutting that down. Like that's his playground. And he's been doing this, like here he is wearing 31, so previous year's stuff, being super physical at the catch point. The receiver even being physical with him and him just fighting like this. He shoots it outside hand initially. Guy does a good job of fighting it off. He's able to still stay balanced, get back under control. Guy's trying to push him to the ground. He sticks with it, stay on top of him. Now, guy breaks, balls out late. He almost gets the interception. Absolutely beautiful work from Adams. Very physical and good punch. Like he knows initially, like he actually like sometimes just like shoots that first punch so good. Like the timing of this, the timing and the punch, the strike, the power behind it, very impressive. And even like grabs, like once he gets like in your chest, sometimes he gets a grab full for just like a half a second because they're not going to call a holding call from an initial press bump. And now he's able to stay in the hip pocket, knock that ball out. Really, really impressed. Like here you can see it again with the grabbing, and he knows like he sees like he initially he literally just grabs the Kansas State receiver straight in the chest with one hand instantly. And that's the beauty of having long arms and great length and being good in press man. Like because even when his positioning, like his body lean isn't that great, he's still able to stay in control. Feels the receiver trying to pull away from him on a screen. There's just nowhere to go for that. The O-lineman doesn't even have a chance to get out there. I don't even know why they're trying to throw that versus Adams in this situation, but he does an absolutely wonderful job. So I really think Adams has a pretty decent shot at this roster. The corner room is pretty weak. You're trading away Ramsey. Like you have a shot of making the team and honestly potentially fighting for playing time. We saw last year Storm Duck, an injury happened and Storm Duck was already shot into the lineup. It's not like your competition are guys with like high pedigrees for the most part. You have guys like Cam Smith has had multiple years now, and he was a high pick, but now it's kind of seems like even Duck was getting playing time over him, and he was a UDFA. You got other UDFAs like Ethan Bonner, Kohu's like your best guy, and he's a UDFA. But he just does a great job on a vertical plane. Here's another example. Like he knows how to play the ball. Like if this guy gets a little bit on top of him, he knows to turn and away from the receiver. He sees the ball is kind of in an even spot, so he turns back into him to play at top. But he understands situations like here. He's high up field shoulder positioning. He's on top of the receiver, so he knows to turn into him to then play a potential back shoulder, which is what comes, and then he fights down for it. Even if he doesn't play the ball perfectly every time, he is going to make it as difficult as possible in those situations to fight through it. Probably could get called for PI in some of these, but none of them are egregious. Here he uses the sideline to his advantage. Very interesting to see him doing these stuff like late in plays, because early in the play, he actually is playing in a soft press. But I like this. I like being able to mix up your punches. That's why I think a lot of his punches are effective, because he has reps like this where he's showing press, but the guy's he feels like the guy's off. He's not on the line of scrimmage. He's like, I'm probably not gonna get a great punch on him anyways. I'm just gonna play in more of the soft, inch back technique, maintain my positioning, see what this guy does. Now once he commits, then get hands on. Ball is thrown, way out of bounds anyways, so they're not gonna call that. But even when he does miss that initial punch, like right here, probably one of the few times you see that him miss that initial punch, but still able to open up his hips, because he misses the inside hand too, which if he misses the inside hand, that could have locked his hips, but he's able to reset and then open his hips, still stay in the hip pocket, and then does a good job hook and swatting at the catch point. Pretty, technique, picture perfect stuff there from Adams. So yeah, I'm a fan of the player. I like what he's gonna, potentially bring. He's probably my favorite defensive UDFA addition so far that I've watched, and I have now peeked at pretty much everyone they've added. Adams was one of the few UDFAs that I actually had watched before the draft, anyways. So I had a pretty good idea of who it was. I expected him to go in like the 6th, 7th round, so him going UDFA is pretty great value in my opinion. So if you guys are new, like, comment, subscribe,